our press briefing on moving 1,000 people out of poverty in the Valley, which is a very ambitious and groundbreaking initiative in the county and I believe in the country. So as we focus on this network of Step Up Silicon Valley, where right now we have over 100 members that are focused on finding ways of reducing poverty in this valley. We said to ourselves, we have this ambitious goal, but how are we going to do this in a very practical way? How can we test out our model of collaboration among us as nonprofits, using the same measures and having the intentionality as organizations and as individuals as we work with our participants, that we will in fact reduce poverty and we'll use as the most innovative solutions that we can, and we'll also test out what's not working. So we decided we're going to start with a cohort of 1,000 to see if we can in fact, as a whole sector, help people move towards self-sufficiency. And so with us today are members of the Step Up Silicon Valley, including nonprofit leaders. We also have government officials and corporate members and supporters from the community that are all dedicated to this one cause of reducing poverty in Santa Clara County. And this whole campaign of moving 1,000 out of poverty wouldn't be possible without the help of American Leadership Forum, being part of the Common Good Collaborative with American Leadership Forum's support, and the initiative of the Step Up Leadership Council, so the Outcomes Leadership Council of Step Up Silicon Valley, that includes key government, corporate, academic, and nonprofit leaders in the community. A key partner to making this happen is the County of Santa Clara, and that's why we're meeting here, and a key champion for us in helping people move out of poverty is Supervisor Dave Cortese. So I'd like to invite Dave to come over and say a few words about what we're trying to do with this campaign. Thanks.
Thank you, Greg. Well, thank you all for being here, and I just want to thank not only Greg, but everyone involved with this effort, and for the honor of serving on the Outcomes Leadership Council, which was one of those things where I was invited, wondered, why me, with congressional people and key leaders from business and the nonprofit sector showing up there to help move this project along. All I wanted to do was help and see what I could do in terms of bringing county resources to bear to help move things along. We know that the economic recovery is underway, but it's been uneven, and we know here, and I probably don't tell most people in this room, that there's still a growing gap between those who are prospering from the new recovery and those who are staying where they're at. That has led all of us to focus on what can we do once and for all to bring people out of poverty. I will add that being a child of the Eisenhower era, the Kennedy era, and those early days of over 40 years ago, where every party in this country, all the leadership in this country, in this state, in this county, talked about eradicating poverty by now. We all realize as we come together around this project that if we're going to do it here, it's no small task, but we have the opportunity to be leaders. Getting together with the leadership, with the Leadership Outcomes Council, the idea was not to focus entirely on that large initiative at the moment, but to take this pilot project, and that's what we're calling it. I think it's an ambitious initiative in and of itself to move 1,000 people out of poverty within 12 months. And how do you do that? You do that by getting 16 agencies within the Step Up network. Let me list who some of those are. Adobe Services, Bill Wilson Center, Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County, CET, Community Solutions, EHC Life Builders, Family Supportive Housing, Goodwill Industries, Next Door Solutions, Nova, Project Hired, Sacred Heart Community Service, Sunnyvale Community Service, St. Joseph's Family Center, the Salvation Army, and West Valley Community Services. You get each one of those agencies to commit to moving a certain number of people out of poverty within the demographic that they're serving. If you can get that to add up to 1,000 people, I think this is doable in 12 months, and those folks have been identified. As I understand it, Greg, and I don't want to steal anybody's thunder later on, but I understand that we've now identified through those agencies the 1,000, the fortunate 1,000 that are going to get a little bit more assistance now. This is going to give us an opportunity to learn things that we've never learned before. How do people in county systems who are being served by nonprofits prosper from the kind of services we both deliver? And what kind of synergies can be developed between the county safety net and these organizations to make sure that we're doing the right things, and that when we do the right things, they're replicated in the future. So that's the excitement behind the project. It's more than just incrementally moving 1,000 people out of poverty. If that would not be enough, I think that alone, again, would be a major initiative. It's saying once we do the 1,000, we're going to know what the blueprint is for moving people in every demographic, under every condition, wherever they are in the safety net, whether it's justice side, the drug and alcohol side, whether it's off CalWorks in the social services department here, or anywhere else in the county system, or anywhere else in those nonprofit systems. We're going to know what it takes typically to move those individuals and those families out of poverty. So we're very excited to be a part of it. My small role was getting the entire Board of Supervisors by unanimous vote to direct the county executive, and social services department to make this a top priority and make sure that we're doing everything in our power to make this a successful project. So we're looking forward to being back here in about 12 months celebrating the results. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you. So this really is a private-public partnership that we can't do it either the public sector by itself, the nonprofit sector by itself, or the for-profit community by itself. We really need all of us together. And to talk a little bit from the nonprofit sector's role of why her organization is involved and why she said, yes, I'm in, I'm going to ask Naomi Nakano Matsumoto, who is the executive director of West Valley Community Service, to talk a little bit about why West Valley said this is an important thing for West Valley to engage in. Thanks, Naomi.
Thank you, Greg. West Valley Community Services is recommitting ourselves to helping people move out of poverty, and we're really excited to be part of the 16 agencies that will be working towards this. We see this as our opportunity to put our stake in the ground, because we are a basic needs organization providing safety net services, and in some ways the metaphor that I see is that we've been providing life preservers, life rafts, but we haven't been able to get people out of the water. And so this is what we're going to do to get people out of the water and safe. So at West Valley Community Services, we're already starting to use the self-sufficiency matrix that will help assess our participants, look at where they are in 5 key areas of food, housing, health, education, and income, and using these objective measures on a 5-point scale. This self-sufficiency assessment will occur 4 times throughout the course of the year. I'm really encouraged by the commitment of the 16 organizations to focus on assisting people out of poverty. Never before that I know of, or that we know of, has this community used a common measurement system to evaluate whether its combined services will move people out of poverty. And I'm also excited that our community is ready to measure outcomes and not just outputs by providing the tools and resources needed for the recipients of our services to gain economic self-sufficiency. So we hope that this movement becomes larger and that we will really be having a big celebration a year from now. So thank you for letting us be part of that.
And now it's my honor, so as I was saying, it's a public-private partnership. We have government, we have nonprofit, and we also have corporate engagement. And our main corporate funder, our first and only right now, but soon to be more, we hope, is Cisco Systems. And Cisco is made a commitment to fund this project both through funding Community Technology Alliance on the technology side and Step Up Silicon Valley on the convening side to make this happen. So I'd like to invite from Cisco Systems, Mike Utrenka, who also happens to be a board member of Catholic Charities. So, Mike.
Cisco is really honored to be a participant in this, a member in helping to improve the economic opportunity, as well as to address critical needs in the local community, here right in our own backyard. As you can imagine, Cisco gets many, many requests for different types of funding from different organizations. Often these organizations are looking at the same issue, but looking at different ways in which they would be measuring the outputs from that. And this is one of the exciting aspects of this particular initiative, is that in those cases we have not had a common metric by which we can look at the results of these organizations and the work that they've been doing. So in this particular initiative, we are really focused on 5 elements that make it a very interesting and exciting opportunity for Cisco to participate in. First and foremost, collaboration is one of Cisco's highest priorities. And hearing the 16 organizations, as well as the 100 overall that are coming together under Step Up Silicon Valley to address this issue and pull people together, is truly a collaborative effort that we see as important to be supported from the corporate perspective. Secondly, each of the providers is using that metric that Naomi indicated, that self-sufficiency measure. This is a critical component, looking at a common metric to see how those results are stepping up. And those, in fact, those metrics, as I look at the third piece, are really focused on measuring the impact through the participant outcomes. It's about the results. It's not about how much was put into it or how many came out of it. It's actually what happened to those individuals that were participating in, which is critically important. Fourth, Cisco happens to be in technology, and as a technology leader, we look to organizations like the Community Technology Alliance is leading this design around an integrated data system, which is really going to look at how the efficiencies, how efficiencies can be created and used from this, how you can track the data, and what are the net impacts to the overall system, what kind of net efficiencies are brought forward by this. Finally, the fifth area is the whole aspect of the independent research aspect that's being brought in to study this, to see what kind of impact it can have on the community. And we're really fortunate to have the University of Notre Dame's Lab for Economic Opportunities to help with the analysis of the results, and we really look forward to getting that information. So as I look at this, the overall process, the cost, the results are going to be measured to determine which are the most efficient, most effective, scalable, and in fact replicable methods in order to combat poverty. And what are the barriers that are being that are coming up against the agencies as well as the participants that participate in the program? And then finally, what are the net savings that the system can bring forward? What overall can happen? So we feel that providing this initial seed funding both to Step Up Silicon Valley and to the Community Technology Alliance, this can tell us a lot about what is working, what isn't working, and how can we improve the use of technology to in fact enable those systems that are actually helping to build a better society for all of us. So as part of this, we're excited to be a part of it. We really encourage other companies to step up to join us in funding and in fact finding and supporting those innovative solutions for combating poverty here in Silicon Valley. Thank you.
Before we get into the QA, I'd like to just list the members of, first of all, the members of the Outcomes Leadership Council that's really set the stage for the 1,000 Out of Poverty and our focusing on common outcomes and results. It's Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, County Supervisor David Cortese, San Jose University President Mohammed Qayyumi, former McKinsey Executive Don Waters, Vendini VP Ruth Boots, Intersil Senior VP Susan Harden. Susan, good to see you, Susan. Sacred Heart Community Service Executive Director Pancho Guevara, and at Cisco also Con Bui, who's on the committee. Community Technology Alliance ED, Jen Paget, County Social Services Agency Director Bruce Wagstaff, County Mental Health Agency Director Nancy Pena, American Leadership Forum Silicon Valley CEO Chris Block, and the Managing Director of Step Up Silicon Valley, Almaz Nagash, and then myself from Catholic Charities. And those are the members of the Outcomes Leadership Council, which has helped at a level really try to drive the momentum on creating and forming a unified strategy. And then all the members of the actually, if you just raise your hand, we already had Dave mention all the groups that are focused specifically on the 1,000 out of poverty. If you're in this room and you're working on 1,000 out of poverty, you've already made a commitment of a certain number of people. So just raise your hand so we can see who's in here. So for media, if you want to talk to anybody in this group, they're ready. So why don't we just close it and then we can do individual interviews afterwards.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Well, as I think the work is going to be done by the 16 organizations, and I'm just asking anyone who's going to listen and hear about what we're trying to do. I want them to understand that there is a lot of work going on this, and this is based on relationship and trust. That means we have built trust that this is 16 organizations are willing to work together, to be vulnerable when it's necessary, but to do something that we have never done before. And I think it's time when we all ask ourselves, what are we going to do going forward? And I think I personally want to be a part of something bigger than myself, and Step Up gives me that opportunity. But actually, it's you. I am the one who drives you crazy, sending the emails and say, hey, come to the meeting. But it's the result is what you're doing. And I personally want to thank you for your commitment and for your courage, because this takes courage. It's not easy to say, I want to be a part of an outcomes, community-wide outcomes measurement, because you're absolutely making your organization a little bit more vulnerable than it was before. You're measuring outcome than output. So the bigger picture is that these are 16, but they need all of us. They can't do it on their own. They also need resources. I have heard from many of you, where are we going to get the money for this? But they just jumped into this, and I'm asking everyone who's listening and everyone who wants to make this community a very strong community to dedicate. Like Cisco, thank you. We do need funding. They do need funding, and so whatever it is that you can do, help. But I think if you're not a member of Step Up, being a member of Step Up, we really are good. I mean, we are a bit slow, but we do something great, and this is the result. So I thank you. I also want to thank my colleague, Caroline. Thank you. There's so much work that gets done into this. So I want to thank everyone who put a lot of effort into this, and thank you for everything. So I am thankful, grateful, and very happy, and I want to be here to support you in any way. Thank you.